Hi Dean, hi DG family. I'm super excited from the Edge event this weekend. I came back super pumped. I want to share with you one of my biggest fears. I actually took a little while to come up with which one I wanted to share because I feel like I've had to overcome a lot of them. And definitely the one that I would have to say was one of my biggest combined. At the age of 18, I began to work with my brother at a family business. And by the age of about 19, I was managing one of his businesses. And to make a long story short, at the age of 20, when I was 25, he decided that he was going to sell his businesses and venture into a different type of business. Of course, everyone was excited for me to take over the family business. But as much as I was excited, I was filled with fears. Filled with the fear of being enough, of being as good as my brother was because he was my absolute hero and role model. Could I fill those big shoes? Fear of letting him down, fear of not being able to continue what he worked so hard for and possibly lose and destroy. Fear of letting my mother down because she also believed in me and put in some money for me to be able to take over this business. And so many people looked up to me and thought I could do it more than I guess what I saw within myself. And I was grateful now, of course, looking back, that I was able to overcome that fear. I can't pinpoint it as a fear because it was an everyday fear. I every day had to overcome that fear because it took me about 3 to 4 years to be able to pay off the business, and those were very difficult years, and where I had to reconvince myself and reprogram myself that I was good enough and that I was going to do this and that I wasn't going to give up. Within the first year of taking over my business and I'm getting a little bit more comfortable, I was unexpectedly expecting the first love of my life. And that's why I say I have to combine the two, because I think for any parent that is listening, they can understand that you never know if you're good enough, if you're going to be that parent you always dreamed of being, if you're going to be able to provide, what's going to happen if you can't. And given the fact that I was just taking over a brand new business and I couldn't afford employees and I was working 72 hours a week and I was dealing with those fears as a business owner, I now had to deal with the fact that, was I ready to be a mom? Would I economically be able to be there for my son? Would I be able to provide for my son and give him time, although I had to work all these hours? And looking back, I am beyond happy, grateful, proud that I was able to overcome those fears, because I consider myself to be a pretty good mom, given that tomorrow is Mother's Day. My first love is turning 11 years old, and I couldn't be prouder. I also, more importantly, because I overcame these fears, can now provide for them, more than one now, more than I ever hoped to, more than I ever expected to. And it was because I overcame those initial fears. I am able to take a day off to go on a field trip with him. I am able to have time off now to be a class mom and be involved in each one of their lives all the time. And that is because I was able to overcome those fears. It's funny because as I'm putting together this video, my nephew, who is like my oldest son, I tell him kind of like what I'm gonna do in the video I'm gonna put on. And he says, "What fears? You don't have any fears." And of course, that made me very proud to hear. But the truth is that I still have, right? We grow and we develop new fears. But I'm proud to know that at least on the outside, I can mask them very well, because I just do. I realize that they are fears, and on a daily basis, you gotta battle these fears and know that, look at everything I overcame, look at everything I did. At this point, you know, what could stop me? It's just another fear, it's just another roadblock. With that said, 2 years ago, I set a goal to learn your business, Dean, and I set a goal to, I guess, get out of the retail world, which takes up a lot of my time, and go into a different industry where I feel that I could be just as successful and maybe have more time for my family, which is my #1 priority. I realized that it was fear that has stopped me for the last 2 years, because I've become somewhat of an expert in what I do and in my field, and I'm successful. And of course, I have the fear of starting all over again, going through that beginning stage that nobody likes, to going back to being at the bottom and totally not an expert and not knowing what to say and what to do. And I guess it's hard, you know, once you've overcome some fears, to start all over again. But I am making a commitment to start from the bottom all over again with what I've gone through. Obviously, you know, it's just another roadblock my way. I'm excited to learn your program, and I'm excited to close my first deal within the next 60 days.